Let's get the party started, baby.
Power flowing, windows jumping, subs pumping hard. Amplifiers amplifying, tear this thing apart. Remixing, bass enhancing, drop it to the ground. Hit the key and twist the knob, drop a wall of sound. Hair flying, towels floating, feel it in your bones. Pressure building, wires jumping, screaming on the phone. Heart pumping, eyes blurring, windows coming down. Nose itching, floor jumping, hurricane the sound. Bass machine, built to pound. Shakes the street, shakes the ground. No escape, no in between. Feel the load, feel the force of the bass machine. Panels rattle, doors flexing, roof begins to sway. Power surges getting hectic, let the music play. Boxes breathing, chords screaming, braced against the frame. Voltage rising, amps colliding, nothing feels the same. Steel bending, glass expressing, roof about to cave. Circuit smelling, clips are yelling, ride the final wave. Baseline savage, bolts in panic, zero turning back. Pushing limits, breaking physics, full on base attack. Bass machine, built to pound. Shakes the street, shakes the ground. No escape, no in between. Feel the law, feel the force of the bass machine.
What's up, people? Where's Bobby B?
Cruising down the back roads, windows roll low, with the music blasting, bass and that flow. Remembering the bonfire, laughing with my crew, jamming on the corner, soaking up the view. Every piece of memory,
Gonna be talking about batteries tonight, y'all.
Feeling so alive, yeah, out here in the dark. Cranking up the radio, rolling through life, loving making memories, music cranks high. Do you feel that freedom? Can you hear the call? Those back road memories calling to us all. The dreams are still burning, laughter is the same, sound still echo loud, can you hear that name? Life was so electric, every day the song, hearts on the highway, we could do no wrong. Chasing every sunset, we're spinning around, living for the moment, man, we're going down. I can feel that fire still burning in my soul, when nobody's watching, I crank my rock and roll.
Yeah,
Those
right
back
there.
road
Win, boy. Getting the win from DJ Russ.
calling to us all. Calling to us all. Down the back road.
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing tonight? I see Bobby B's in the house and Steve Smith is in the house. There's more people in there, but y'all ain't saying nothing. So tonight we're going to be talking about a couple things. First of all, as you can tell, I'm not in the hospital. It's only just because I got out the hospital, and this little thing's going to bug the crap out of me all damn night. I'm going to tell you this little thing right here. This stupid ass little jack. I don't know. It's driving me batshit crazy already. Went in and got the operation and got this thing implanted in my chest over here. It's hurting like hell, and I've been taking. I ain't took any pain medication in years. I've been dodging pain medication, all kinds of stuff I've been through where I was supposed to take them, and I just didn't take it. But the last couple of days, y'all, I've been taking these hydrocodones because this shit hurts, man. I'm gonna tell you, this shit's hurting. It's rough to do things. Um, I mean, the doctor told me I couldn't lift no more than 5 pounds. The nurse and I asked her. I said, "How am I supposed to go pee?" She didn't have no answer to that. But we're still moving on. Tomorrow we got a show uh, that we're going to go do, and so when Rick Ross is in the house, what's up, Rick Ross? He said, "How you doing?" I'm doing. I'm not dead. I woke up this morning many times actually, and the last time I just sort of stayed awake because I wasn't having any luck sleeping. So just pain, woke me up, hurting and shit. Couldn't get comfortable because pain and stuff. Yeah, it sucks, man. But tomorrow we are going to do a show in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. If you guys are in the Springfield, Missouri area, you need to come on over and get a demo in the bass machine. But prior to all that, we got other things to talk about. Now that I've updated y'all on the status of my uh, genetic medical conditions, and I say genetic because literally every member of my family that's older than me has had the same problem. It's very much genetic. My grandmother had the same exact condition, and she never smoked or drank or anything. She was a super clean woman all her whole life, and she actually lived about the same. Well, she wasn't much older than me right now when she passed away. So it is what it is. Now that said, I ain't lived a perfect life. I don't do drugs normally, but I did smoke some pot when I was younger, but not much. But I do smoke a lot of cigarettes, and so everyone thinks, well, my cigarette smoking's got something to do with it, and I'm sure it don't help, but it doesn't have anything to do with it. I would have had this condition regardless. My little brothers are both in line for it too, and I keep telling them, and you need to stay on top of it because it's. I mean, literally every single member of our family has had heart disease. This particular type of heart disease, congestive heart failure. It's just something that comes with being in my family, I guess. Um, anyway, tonight, see, I'm rambling on about this stuff. This is what's on my brain, right? I've been doing a lot of research though to bring you guys good numbers because what we're going to talk about tonight is uh, uh, lithium versus AGM batteries versus supercapacitors. And I found out some pretty interesting stuff. I already had some good general knowledge in the area, but I've done more specific research and I've got some actual good numbers for you guys to answer questions with. So we can go ahead and do that. Jay Shive said, "Glad you're out." Thank you, Jay. Nice to see you here tonight, man. Um, so, first of all, let's talk a little bit about AGM batteries. Now, absorbed glass mat or AGM batteries are an awesome replacement for flooded lead acid batteries. There's literally no reason whatsoever to use a flooded lead acid battery anymore for any reason unless it's just what you have. The AGM basically uses the same chemistry as a flooded lead acid battery. The difference being that it has a lower internal resistance than the flooded lead acid battery. It's also much more rugged. It's spill proof. It's just a better design of a flooded lead acid battery. It's still a flooded lead acid battery per se. It's still a lead acid battery chemistry. It's just a better design. So we're talking about it. Now, if we look at the flooded lead acid or AGM batteries, and both of them have similar characteristics in this department. If we look at the AGM battery, For a good one, you're looking at somewhere north of $400. I've actually got one here listed that's $539. This is a 16-volt battery, so it's got a little extra kick to it, and it's made by excess power. You guys ask about high-end stuff, so we're going to compare everything. We're going to compare pretty much is going to be really high-end stuff, top shelf stuff, because I want the opposing teams to have the best shot they can at making a good mark for their team. Okay. So we're looking at an excess power 16 volt Group 31 battery. Now, this battery is, first of all, it's 70 pounds, 76 pounds. It's got 1130 cranking amps and 98 amp hours. So all of the stuff we're looking at too, we're going to try to keep everything in the 100 amp hour range. That doesn't work for some of this stuff, and you'll see why. But that's what we're comparing apples to apples as much as we possibly can. Bobby B said, just wish they were cheaper. You ain't lying, my friend, because they are expensive. And, well, let's just get back into the comparison. So, as I wrote here, they can hold a lot of power and it can discharge really quickly. That's something an AGM does. It has a very, very good tank of fuel. Okay, big tank of fuel, and it can actually pour that out pretty fast. You can get 1,000 amp hours. You can get 1,000 amps out of the thing, like slamming in your face quick, right? The problem with an AGM battery is, and this is all of them, they range from 0.3 to 0.5 C. And the C is a variable of how much power you can take in versus the amount of power you can store. And the C rate on AGMs is all between 0.3 and 0.5. And in layman's terms, what that means is you can charge them at a maximum of 30 to 50 amps constant. Now, that is also kind of a peak number because they generally want to be charged at much less amperage than that. You can only charge them at those higher amp ratings. Yes, that's high for an AGM for short periods of time. This is why battery chargers don't charge at 100 amps. They charge at like 5 or 6 or 7 amps because the battery chemistry, the lead acid chemistry cannot accept a charge faster than that reliably. They start getting hot, and whenever you generate heat, you also generate resistance, and the resistance lowers the voltage that it can take in, which means more current, which also means more heat. So the current builds heat, and the heat cuts voltage, which raises current, and that just keeps snowballing. Having your alternator try to feed 300 amps into a battery that can only take 30 amps, all right, causes the alternator to get hot. Also causes your belt to get really hot and wear faster because it's trying to turn this alternator, which is trying to do something it can't do. It heats up the battery, heats up the alternator, heats up the wires, heats up all the connections. It's wear and tear on everything. It would even cause your gas mileage to go down because your engine is having to work hard to spin an alternator that cannot produce the power it wants to. It's trying to, it's just getting resistance because it can't put that power out. So it's literally trying hard to produce this power and can't put it anywhere. It's a bad combination. If you're upgrading your alternator to a high amperage alternator, unless you're all the time using all the power that alternator is making, you need to also add batteries to be able to accept the power that thing's creating, or it's just going to cause more problems that you don't even realize. So if you had an alternator getting hot, this is why. One of the reasons. So the AGM battery can't take more than 30 to 50 amps constant, and that's on the high side. And that stresses the electrical system, stresses the alternator, stresses the alternator belt, stresses the engine. So what can you do to fix that? Okay. Well, if you're going to continue to run an AGM system and you want to pull more than 30 to 50 amps on a regular basis out of that system, which is, and you got to remember that 30 to 50 amps is also part of that's being used by the vehicle. It's not designed, the battery's not designed, nor is any alternator designed to pull more than that power out of your engine. It's just built for one thing, and what you're doing is asking to produce many, many, many times more power than it was ever designed to do. So it just is a broken system. How can you fix that? Well, a lot of people are going to say supercaps. I haven't read the chat yet, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to go back and check up on you guys in a minute. A lot of people are going to say supercaps. Supercaps added to the AGM battery solves that problem. Well, sort of. Here's the thing, though. A supercap bank like a big supercap bank, if we go down to the excess power 12-volt supercap bank, which is a Group 31 supercap, it's a big boy, high-end stuff. It says it's rated at 20,000 amps, and that's what its boost power, its maximum output is. It's called an 8,000 watt, 1,000 farad Group 31 capacitor. Okay, they're $999. So here's the real information. So yes, it will produce 20,000 watts for a very short time. The problem is it has 36.4 watt hours of power. And what that ends up meaning in battery terms is it has a 3 amp hour storage, 3 amp hours. So you could pull 20,000 watts out of that capacitor for 1/2 of a second. You could pull 1,000 amps out of that capacitor for about 10 seconds. So for $1,000, you can put this in your system. You can pull 1,000 amps out of it for 10 seconds. And you can, that's 10 seconds. Now, your alternator can't put 1,000 amps back into it in 10 seconds. So you're going to run into the end of your storage. So your alternator can't keep up that way. It doesn't have the raw power to continuously produce over 1,000 amps. Because if you just pull 1,000 amps out of there, you're also trying to pull 1,000 more out while the alternator is trying to put back power in there. So it's going to quickly deplete that. And all you're basically working with, you're not even using the AGM battery at this point. You're basically just working with the 3 amp hour storage of the capacitor. So for 10 seconds, it'll slam and then it's going to fall on its face quickly. There's not even enough room in there for a song. Okay. That's the shortcoming of a cat bank. If you want to use a cat bank to make anything that's going to work realistically, you're going to need a whole lot of them, and they're not cheap. Again, this is $1,000 cat bank that gives you 10 seconds of 1,000 amps. Okay. That's the truth of it. It's just not enough reserve. And it can't reliably pull, it can pull power out of the battery, but again, you can't put the power back in. You don't have any strength in this whole setup. If you're trying to run a 500 watt system, a 1,000 watt system, yeah, that would probably be fine. But if you're trying to run anything big, it's just going to crash and burn. So let's look at a couple other options on that same capacitor bank. Now I want to talk about the Ioxis supercap. So I know you guys have seen it. I've got one out there in my shed. You can get them for about $130 over at Big Jeff Audio, and they do their job. But here's the problem with the Ioxis supercap. If you thought the storage on the other one was low, the Ioxis is much lower. So it's like a 375 farad cap. Still, though, if you bought like 5 of them, 10 of them, you could get some decent storage, right? But there's a catch. With the Ioxis supercap, it is a set of capacitors with a charge controller built into it. It's got a computer that controls the charge. And anytime you take any kind of battery and you put a computer in charge of it, a charge controller, that means it's not going to work very well for car audio. Already, right off the bat, if the thing has a charge controller built into it, no matter what it is, it's not going to work very well for what we do, because we demand way more current to go in and come out than the charge controller is ever going to allow to happen. So with that guy though, it's got one kicker. That's that charge controller. Um, it limits its charging to 15 amps nominal and 21 amps in little bursts. 21 amps. That's, you know, that's nothing. That's a 200 watt amplifier. So realistically, you can only use the power at the same rate that you can charge the battery. Okay, that's the way your brain's got to function on this. Whatever rate you want to use on the music end, you've got to be able to put the power in the battery that same speed. Okay, now it don't matter if you have 2,500 amp alternators. If the damn thing won't take more than 30 to 50 amps constant, they're just going to be sitting there doing nothing. Well, eating gas and getting hot. That's what they're going to be doing. It's just not going to work. So yeah, for that little dude, you got 21 amps max incoming charge. So what the Ioxys battery is, the capacitor there, it's capacitors that configured to act more like an AGM battery, but it's a capacitor. So it's designed specifically to do a job, and that's to start a vehicle. It's designed to be able to take residual power from a basically dead bank of batteries and slowly build enough energy up into it to start a vehicle. That's what it's for. And it does that well. What it doesn't do well is support a car audio system. Will it give you a little more snap? Yeah. If your system is, a few thousand watts, you add one of these, you're going to get more crisp initial impacts from bass. You're going to get more snap in the music. It'll make it sound better. It's not going to support you electrically. It's not going to stop your headlights from dimming. It's not going to do any of those things. It's going to have to be attached to something else that can do the grunt work. Okay. Let's see what else we got going on here. I'm going to see what you guys are rambling about. I keep seeing the chat go crazy. Holy Moses. So let's see here. Trying to go back to where we. Oh my goodness gracious! Alive. There's a lot of people. Y'all are talking and going on. Okay. So Character Flawless Trunked Under Lithium 10K seems to be out of stock since last month. Do I know when it's going to be available? Brandon, it says it's at the dock, and he's dealing with customs right now. So it's just a matter of as soon as he can get it out of customs and get it back, we're going to be rolling with that. So everything is good. Emmett Bishop, what's up? What's up? What's up? Ken Naylor's in the house. Corn Nuts in the house. What's up, Corn Nut? El Fuego. Bobby B sent me, he said. What's up, El Fuego? Let's see. Stu's Custom Shop. Evening to you too, sir. Let's see who else is in here. Rob Richards. What's up, bud? Hope you're healing fast. Man, I'm just taking drugs and trying to keep waking up, man. That's what I'm doing. Healing happens, but we're doing what we got to do. Travis is in the house. What's up, Travis? Travis King, Carnage Taylor. But this van, you did a 155 point something on a test. I think it was on a test. I don't know where you was when you metered it, but yeah, he got him a 155 plus on that van. He just shoved some subs in that thing. Be up and running for tomorrow. Damn, I was on the other channel, wondering where everyone was. Yeah, I don't know, man. I got issues. Michael Smith said, I have a 320 amp mech man and a Trunked Under 10K. Will another run of zero gauge help? Currently, I have one positive and one negative going to the back. So you got your 10K in the rear, and you got a 320 amp mech man in the front, obviously, and you don't have any batteries up there, so you're not using whatever you have up there. Then you got a run of each going to the back. If you're running on a long vehicle, for all the way back into like the trunk area where you got like 15 or 20 feet of cable, it might not hurt to run a second run. 320 amps is generally something I would consider capable on a single alt gauge OFC cables, but that's kind of on the edge of where I would run. Usually I limit myself to about 10 or 12 feet on a single cable at 300 amps. So I would say you probably wouldn't hurt to run another one back there. Ken Naylor said, "Hey, Travis, what's up, Ken?" Good times, man. Living the dream. Kelly Giblin said, "So my car is a huge AGM and a higher output dyno, FFS, whatever that shit means." For fuck's sake, I don't know what that means. Oh man, on my Mercedes. Oh, the Mercedes, boy, you done messed up. Now you done went overseas with the car. Those can get really interesting. The European cars. That means on my Mercedes sedan, I had a second AGM matching the other one, which is 95 to 100 amp hours, 180-minute reserve with salt 6 or 8. Yeah, that's not going to hold up. No. No, you by now, if you're listening to this, if you're listening to what I'm talking about, you already realize that that's not going to work, right? You can't charge it fast enough. I mean, it's going to play for however long it takes to drain the battery down to the point to where it's not producing the amperage anymore, and then it's not going to recover. And let's say you go out riding, right? You're booming, junking, going down the road, listening to your music. It's good. The first song hits real hard, man. Somewhere toward the end of that first song, it just starts kind of dying off. You crank it on up a little more. You know, you're at the store, so you turn it down so you can go through the drive-through, you know, crank it back up. You're driving around, you're doing your thing. You don't forgot that the voltage kind of went down because now you're just listening to it at half throttle, you know. You get to the house, you shut the car off. Nothing's charging that battery now. So now when you go back out there and crank it up, you're starting off in a depleted state at that point. You're not gonna recover that power back. You can never put it back unless you're driving around with the radio turned off. And then, the whole time that's the wrong way to charge a battery. You're trying to build back up with the alternator, trying to shove more power into it than it can take, and then the alternator's gonna be hot and the battery's not gonna be happy. You ain't got no base. Everybody's unhappy, man. The whole situation is terrible. I'd love to tell you yes, but I cannot honestly tell you that. You need lithium, man. That's what you need. We're going to get back into that discussion, though, here in a second, where I'll get back on the information I got, and I'm going to kind of help you guys to figure it out. Jay Snipes is trying to help you out a little bit. Stu's Custom Shop, how long does it take to recharge? Yeah, you're probably working with Michael, too, or with Kelly. I don't know. Let's see here. I'm kind of catching up. Team Chevy, Maryland, Sean. What's up, Team Chevy? Mahendra. Hi, sir. I am from India. Nice to see you, man. Nice that you made it. Glad you're in the house. W's in here. Stu. Bobby's always in the house. Like a 60 amp. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, Kelly. Oh, 60 amp DC to DC converter. Yeah, that doesn't make no sense to me. I ain't understood why anybody uses a DC to DC converter. I know there's cases. I ain't studied that. I'm not really sure. To quickly charge lithium, yeah, you could see the power in, power out. So you're looking at, you could charge lithium at much higher rates than you can with the AGM. That's what I'm going to get to. It'll make sense here in a minute. Let's go down a little further. Yeah, they're separate. Okay. Sodium. I don't know a whole lot about sodium, so I know that I know that Brandon wasn't excited about sodium. He was checking into it hard when it first started making the scene, and all the stuff he was looking at, he didn't like the look of it, so he stayed away from it. And so that tells me that I don't really want to mess with it either. If Brandon don't like it, I don't like it. But I need to learn more about it regardless, because some people run it and have okay luck with it. Yeah. Stu said, so I've heard the battery's resting voltage determines where it starts supplying power once the alternator can't produce the current. Absolutely. Is that the reason lithium is better? That's one reason. It absolutely can. That is a truth. But it's not just that, though. It's not just that. So yes, the resting voltage is where the battery starts kipping in, but also the alternator responds to a call for electricity. It's not readily pushing power. There's a delay. So when the dynamic hit asks for power, the alternator has a slight delay before it starts sending it. So it's going to be really soft. So the battery is also responsible for that initial hit. So there's more to it than that. But yes. Thank you, Fuego. Mr. Clean, baby. Woo! Do you smell what the rock is cooking? Um, no Name said, wow, I just Googled what type of battery I should get. I'm scared of lithium, so I'll probably go AGM. I'm only running 312s. Yeah, well, so here's the catch with lithium, bro. It's real simple. Lithium typically does not like cold. And when you get lithium extremely cold and you try to charge it while it's extremely cold, that's when you're pushing it into the area where you can get into trouble with lithium, as a rule. That said, the cells that we're using for the Trunk Thunder Lithium 5K and 10K banks are rated at 32 degrees below zero. So negative 32 degrees. They can still be charged and discharged at 31 degrees negative. So unless you're living in like freaking Nome, Alaska, and you're out dropping the hammer whenever it's just deadly cold, you ain't gonna have no problems. Now, will the efficiency go down when they get cold? Yes. As they get colder, down around the freezing mark, the efficiency goes down, the amount of power they put out goes down, things like that depreciate, but the battery is still safe. And that's key. The cells are actually designed for the Chinese military. So you guys know where China is, okay? And what they operate in. They design everything that they use has to be designed to operate fully functional and reliably in extremely cold weather every single time. And so that's what we're using for cells. They're good cells, and they will take cold well. So you're not having to worry about them, catching on fire and stuff. The other thing is the design of the bank when they're put together. They got to be balanced properly, and they got to be protected with a good balancer. And Brandon uses a medical grade balancer for every bank. So they're 100% dead on the dead money, balanced perfectly. And if you want to know how safe lithium can be, lithium is what powers all your cell phone towers. It's what powers all the hospital machinery in the hospital. So if you see those little carts trolling around and they come in with the machines on them, that's lithium down there below. They use lithium for all their backup power needs. So it's all over the interior of that hospital. Lithium itself is not dangerous. Badly used, improperly used lithium, used in the wrong way, can be. And that's why I'm very specific when I tell you to get a specific battery from a specific place, because not all lithium is equal. Okay. Now, hopefully that helped you. Don't be afraid of lithium as long as you're buying it from someone who knows what they're doing, building it, and you're using the right cells in the right environment. Everything is hunky-dory. Trey Love said, new to the page, appreciate the knowledge. Thank you, man. I appreciate you for stopping in and hanging out with us. See Kelly Giblin, Trey Love, nice to see you guys in the house. Michael said, how bad of an idea would it be to mix two LiPo batteries like Trunk Thunder and a glow voltage together? Not a bad idea. As long as the resting voltage is really close, they'll be fine. That's really the only thing that you have to worry about, unless those resting voltages are drastically different. Then you're dealing with one battery pulling on the other one constantly, and all that's going to do is constantly maintain a slightly depreciated state on the higher voltage resting battery, which will wear on it faster, and it's not good for the battery. If you're daily driving it and it's got like a 0.2 or 3 volt difference or whatever, it won't matter. If you're letting it sit up for a long period of time, few months at a time, that case you'd probably want to disconnect one of them so that they're not fighting each other while they're sitting there, just one steadily charging the other one and keeping that one down. If you're driving it on a regular basis, that's not really a problem. Let's see, what did I miss here? Okay, Bobby B, 1750 watts, 220 amp draw on a large AGM stock alt. You're not going to get if you're using it, if you're running the thing hard and you're wringing it out, your battery is not going to receive that, and you're not going to get that much power out of it after a short period of time. The ability for the battery to keep producing it's just going to go away. It's not going to have the power to replace it, and you can't replace it fast enough. Like if you have a 30-second break between songs, your alternator is only putting in a small amount of power back into that battery. It's going to fall on its face quicker than it did the last time, and it's going to slowly deplete as you're driving. You may not even realize it's happening. You may be so used to listening to something that's producing, say, 600 watts that, well, it's fine. It's working. It's making bass. It's doing all the stuff. Yeah, it is. It's running the maximum amount of power that your alternator can shove in that battery constantly. That's what it's running. So if you're running a single AGM, you said one large AGM, you're at the most you're getting 50 amps out of that system on a constant basis, and that's 500 watts. So you're not seeing that much power, and the reality is you're not seeing anywhere that much power for any length of time, and your battery is suffering from not getting charged properly on a constant basis if you're always listening to music when you drive. I highly suggest that you plug your shit in and let it charge when it's at home, if you're in that situation, because if not, you're going to kill that battery, and you're also going to work that alternator over too. Check your, you guys want to know what's going on? Check your alternator, the front of your alternator where your belt is, the pulley. If you got a whole bunch of black shit around those little fins on your alternator, that means your belt's been slipping. And you may not hear it slipping, but it's been slipping. And if you're running not enough battery on your system, I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of that crap built up around the cooling vents on the front of your alternator. It's got a bunch of black shit on it. And that's from that alternator working too hard, trying to do something the battery simply won't let it do. Learning, guys, we're learning, okay? It ain't got to feel good. It ain't got to feel good. It ain't got to taste good. But this is what you're swallowing right now. You got to swallow this pill. This is the real thing. Salt's very abundant in the future. It may be, like I said, I just don't know nothing about it yet. So it is what it is. You understand that. I know that we're probably going that way eventually, but I don't know enough about it to speak on it, so I'm not going to. Kelly Giblin said, so you need a voltage regulator to use lithium with AGM? No. As long as you're using a lithium bank that rests at approximately close to the same voltage, like the Trunk Thunder Lithium 5K V2, V1, V2, and the 10K V1 and V2, all of those rested around 13.1 volts. And your typical AGM rested around 12.6 or 12.7. That's a difference of like a half a volt-ish. And it's not ideal, but if you're driving it every day, it'll be fine. So no, and a voltage regulator wouldn't help you anyway. You're more speaking on a battery isolator. And for those of you who don't know what a battery isolator is, it's essentially a relay that whenever you turn the key on, closes and connects one battery to another battery. So it connects the circuit. so you can connect both batteries together. And so that the alternator, which is making more voltage than both batteries, can charge them. And then when you turn the key off, it separates the two batteries so that one battery can set at its voltage and the other battery can set at its voltage. The downside to a battery isolator is that there's a set amount of voltage or amperage that can flow through that isolator, usually about 500 amps, which is enough for most AGM setups, but it's kind of sketch. And also, some people claim that you lose voltage across the battery isolator. I haven't seen that myself. And there's also the possibility of it just going bad or whatever, and it's just an unnecessary thing. And it kind of is, depending on the situation. So if you got a pretty good difference between the batteries, but they're both still lower than your charging voltage, you can run them with a battery isolator and you can eliminate that problem. If they're pretty close together, then putting a little stress on one, overnight is not a big deal. If you're going to have it setting up for weeks or months at a time, then yes, disconnect them so they're not fighting each other. Hopefully that was helpful. Let's see. Corn Nut says, I'm still learning about battery stuff. I bought a JP40 because Andy told me it's perfect for my load and charging voltage. It was. It is. It's fine. It's good stuff. LTO's got its strengths and weaknesses. So LTO's weaknesses, it's expensive as shit. As far as I know, LTO is only used at charging higher voltages. And that may be fine, but not everyone can run, like 15 volts. Some vehicles and some computer systems just can't handle that. And I don't know, I can't remember if LTO has a group that's a lower voltage or not, but it's also pretty expensive. It's like, what was it, like $200 a cell or something like that? $300 a cell? And it takes like 6 cells to make a bank. Shit ain't cheap, man. But again, it's lithium, so it's all good. Lithium powers all the Milwaukee. Yeah, lithium powers everything. Lithium powers everything, guys. Yeah. Steve Smith. Let's see. Oh, what's this? Wait a minute. Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. We done went all the way in. All the way in, baby. For that, you get a hair trick. Gotta love a good hair trick and a good face space, baby. Thank you, Steve Smith, my friend. And you're very much welcome. Or Michael Smith. I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. Appreciate the duck, man. We always use tacos around here. My wife ended up taking off work for 2 days to look out for me because, I'm all screwed up right now. And, you may not think it's much until you're the one that's been stabbed a couple of times, and then you kind of get it. But thank you very much, Michael Smith. See, Alexander, Alex, Dantler. I'm gonna say that the Z is silent. Y'all help me out here. I'm gonna say the Z is silent, and it's just a L, so it would be Dantler. I don't know. I'm taking a wild guess here. It's usually if there's two consonants together like that, one of them is silent. Dantler or Danzler. I don't know which one. Jay Shipes, a lot of drill batteries are lithium ion cells. Yeah, it is what it is. Ruthless Ronnie the Mechanics. I'm not building a crazy setup, just 210s on a 3K. Yep, and that's 300 amps. That 3K is going to require to run full tilt boogie. I would say 150 amps realistically on music is what you're going to be pulling on that. So just, take 1 0 off and then cut it in half, and that's usually what you need to be trying to power. So you could figure 150 amps for that. Now, if you're running a single AGM, it can only do at max around 50 amps constantly. So that means that for AGMs, you're going to be required to have a bare minimum of 3 pretty damn good AGM batteries to support that 3K. To continuously support it and give it the power it wants to play its full potential, you're going to need 3 pretty damn good AGM batteries. They need to be able to take in 0.5C. So that's minimum of about $900 for mid-grade used ones. You can get, and also 200 plus pounds of weight. Stu's Custom Shop. No, sir. North Mississippi. Yeah, okay. I saw that question earlier. Ken says, I have a 400 amp alternator. They make anything to keep my RPMs at 2,000 when I'm metering. Yeah, you got little rigs that you can buy. The easiest way to do it, though, bro, is get one of those. Go get a lawnmower controller to control the throttle on a lawnmower, and use that. It has a little set screw. So it has a little set screw that makes it stiffer, right? And you take that screw and back it off, put a wing nut on it where you can loosen it, and then you crank that sucker down to where you want it, and then tighten that screw up, and it'll stay there. And whenever you're not using it, take the screw out completely so it can just flop around. That way it allows you to drive normally. That's the easiest, quickest one. You could use a stick, cut a stick to fit under your seat, and to hold against the gas pedal, and then use your power seats to move it forward and backward to adjust it. You can do that. These are a couple of things, but they make devices for that too. A lot of vehicles, you can actually use the cruise control to idle it up. At least you can on the big trucks. You can idle it up with the cruise control. Kelly says, yeah, I mean, that's later. I figured that out. Can you talk about reasons lithium will have warnings against mounting under the hood? Sure, lithium doesn't like heat. No battery likes heat. One of the advantages of an AGM battery is that it's really resilient to heat. It doesn't care for cold either, but it doesn't go catastrophic in cold, and it doesn't mind heat as much. Lithium does not like to be hot. And holy crap, another one. We got tacos in the house.
Crushing on these tacos, we buy the fiesta. Guac on the side, man, you know it's the best. Lettuce and salsa, stack it high, make it pop. Crunch in my mouth, can't stop, won't drop. Scissor in, flavor's cold is so sweet. After one taco, I'm in for a repeat. Bite after bite, got me dancing in my seat. Hitting up the taqueria, can't face defeat.
No Name says, you recommend upgrading the alt or adding a battery first? I have 3 massive Sumo 12s and a 2K. Upgrading the 2K to 3. I absolutely recommend that you upgrade to the Trunk Thunder Lithium 5K V2 first, because that battery will take, like right now, the battery that you currently have can only take in 30 to 50 amps at one time. So no matter what alternator you put on it, you're not going to help that situation. It's going to be limited by how much power it can put into the battery. By upgrading the battery, you now allow your 100 and whatever amp alternator to actually put way more power into a bank, because it has the ability to store that. So you essentially, when you upgrade to a 5K V2 or a 10K V2, you essentially upgrade your alternator, because now your alternator has somewhere to put that power it's been trying to store somewhere. It becomes far more effective. So upgrading the battery first is the key, but only if it's lithium. If you're upgrading to an AGM battery, you're not going to be seeing much of an advantage on that. It's still going to be falling on your face. You're going to be adding a ton of weight, taking up a lot of space, and making a bunch of heat and not doing a bunch of work. Get yourself a Trunk Thunder Lithium 5K V2 That will handle what you're doing, what you're going to do, and about twice what you're going to do. And even more if you add an upgraded alternator later. It's going to carry on into many builds in the future. You will be happy with that 5K V2 and that setup. Hopefully that helped you. What's your opinion on C-Max? C-Max is awesome and it's dangerous. C-Max is like shit that's ready to explode all the time. C-Max requires that you have it basically in a press, and it has to be pressed the right amount all the time. It can't be pressed too much, and it can't be too loose. It's got to be just exactly right. If the C-Max and the press, the system, it's got a name. They named it something, but if you got the thing compression system, the right amount of compression, and it's built right, and everything is right, the C-Max is probably the most power dense way you can store energy any kind of way in a car, by far. um, but it is picky. So if you jump into C-Max, do so carefully. Okay. It's badass, but it is sketch. C-Max is one of the reasons why lithium has a bad name, because a lot of people screw up C-Max. And screwing up C-Max is a lot of problems. That's my opinion. Kelly Giblin said, last question. Oh, man, you're running out of questions. If I run lithium with AGM, and the lithium should charge quickly, right? And I shouldn't have to worry about the main AGM. Truth. That will work. Your question, the answer to your question is yes, but I'm also going to elaborate. So that will work. The problem, the only real problem, there's only two. One is your lithium will be trying to charge the AGM all the time. Okay, so the AGM can only take in so much power, so lithium's just going to be saying, I got all this power, let me give you some. And the AGM's like, oh man, hold on just a little at a time, just a little. And after a while, the AGM is full, right? The lithium says, I got more power than you, so here, let me put some more in there. The AGM doesn't know what to do. I don't know what to do with this power. I can't hold no more. And they sit there arguing about this. If you're driving every day, again, it's not a big deal. It will work out fine. If you're going to let it sit up for a length of time, then you'd want to separate them, you know. But for a short period of time, every day, like overnight, you know, when you go home or over the weekend, it's fine. It'll be fine. Just know, though, that you can remove the AGM completely as long as you've got a power in the ground running to the front to connect to your car's electrical needs from the lithium in the back. Got power running up there. You can run the car and everything off of just the lithium battery, and it will start the car. It will do all the stuff, no problem. And then your voltage will run slightly higher than it would before, and everything will be happy. That is an option also. So I'm trying to give you the options so you can make the decision as to what you want to do. Scotty, I do God. He said, what's up? What's up, Scotty? So Ronnie, Ruthless Ronnie the mechanic said, I don't quite know how the MMATs amp liked lithium batteries or not. My plan was to run a 350 amp alternator and a 130 on the truck. I've done that. I've got that in my Tahoe right now. And it works. And if you're cool with it, if you got two alternators, it works fine. That's what I'm running on my Tahoe. I'm running a 370 amp on my audio system and a 300 amp on my truck. I have a single AGM battery in the front that 300 amp is trying to charge all the time. This is about to change. And I have a 370 amp alternator, which is charging my trunk under lithium. The reason I don't have them both, I don't have a 300 and a 370 amp alternator, both charging my trunk under lithium, is because it's not really rated to handle that much amperage. So I'm trying to keep hold back just a little bit. I'm actually having the opposite problem from a lot of people. It's rated for 500, 600 amps in burst, but around 300 to 400 nominally. And I'd be putting potentially 670 amps into it. And if I'm pulling my 16,000 watts, that's 1,600 amps. So in theory, I could reach a point to where I was trying to put 670 amps into a battery that really isn't designed to take more than about 500 amps. And I don't want to do that. So that's why I have it separated. But that's about to change. I have an unusual setup. Hey, I do the best I can, man. Have a good one, Kelly. Jason said, Stu, a lot of lithium cells warn not to use above 150, 170, or 190. Upper temperatures varied based on the cell, yeah. Underhood did not get over 200, so it's not good. So it's not a good amount, right? And there are some lithium batteries out there for sale, and they say they are okay for underhood use. All that's happened there is they've taken a cell and packed it in an insulated casing. And they've got the casing insulated on the inside. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you take me and wrap me up in a blanket and stick me under the damn hood of a vehicle, I'm going to still get hot as hell. That blanket's not going to keep me from getting hot. Okay? It might keep me from burning my arm on the exhaust pipe, but I'm still finna get hot. I don't approve of that at all. Myself, I don't approve of that. Now, I'm just one individual who don't know shit. I'm just one person out here in a sea of people that don't know shit going against major manufacturers who, they have all the stuff. I don't want no lithium under the hood of my shit. I don't care what they say about it. It's just not designed for that. The heat is bad. That's my 2 cents, That's my 2 cents. So, yeah. Jason said, there's one battery sold. Yeah, there you go. You're talking about the same thing I literally just said. Higher chemistry and it's an insulated housing. Yep. And see, Jason even thinks the same way I do. I literally didn't read that until just now. I don't trust it, man. But yeah, you can get it. So let's continue on with the train of information because we're learning shit tonight. Okay. We're going to learn some shit tonight. And it ain't the shit that you want to learn, but it's the shit you need to know. Okay. It's just the real truth. So we talked about the excess power 12 volt supercapacitor bank. That'll give you 1,000 amps for 10 seconds. Now, the Trunk Thunder Lithium 10K V2 can give you 6 minutes of 1,000 amps. That's not charging it. That's just what's stored in the battery. So you can do, and I've done multiple 30 and 40 second demos with the thing turned off. It just has that much power in it. A capacitor doesn't. It can't even remotely start to think about doing something like that. So you can pull 1,000 amps. You can support what would that be? A 10,000 watt amplifier running full tilt boogie, okay, for 6 minutes off of the 10K V2 without any charge going to it at all. The car's sitting there turned off. And it would actually last longer than that because you're not going to be pulling on a 10,000 watt amp. You're only going to be pulling probably half that output, or a little bit more. After your impedance rise, you're looking at maybe 6,000, 7,000 watts. So like 500 amps, you're probably looking at 10 or 12 or 15 minutes that you could run this thing. They're insane, dude. They really are. They're freaking insane little amplifiers. Now let's talk about the opposition. This is the only real competition for the 10K V2 and the 5K V2 out there. The big boy. We're talking about excess power Titan 8. Everybody knows about the Titan 8. So the Titan 8 is an $800 battery. It is advertised at being able to, it says 2,000 amps of max discharge, but I'm going to tell you right now, that's a pipe dream. But looking at it's only got 10 amp hours. The Titan 8, guys, I'm going to say this again. I just told you the 5K V2 has 50 amp hours of storage. The 10K V2 has 100 amp hours of storage. The Titan 8, an $800 battery, has 10 amp hours of storage. Now, the only thing it's got going for it is, well, it isn't an advantage. It's just keeping up. It can take in 300 amps of charge at one time, which is something an AGM battery cannot do. It can kick out 1,000 amps for however long you can keep shoving power into it. The downside is it's only got 10 amp hours of storage. So 10 amp hours, what would that be if we did 1,000 amps? So you're pulling 1,000 amps on that battery, 30 seconds. That's how much you get. You get 30 seconds versus the 10K V2, 6 minutes. It's a no-brainer, man. It's a no-brainer. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. You're getting, I mean, that's crazy. You'll get more out of the 5K V2 than you will out of that Titan 8. And the 5K V2 is literally half of the 10K V2. They're the same cells. One is twice as much as the other, twice as much cells. The same chemistry, same cells. There's just a one, and then there's one that's twice as much of it. And it's less than twice the price. So you buy more, you get a better price. And both of them are capable of far more than a Titan 8 is. I don't know how to explain this any better. 1 + 1 = 2. And with Truck Thunder Lithium, you're getting 2. Somebody else, you might be getting 1 or 0.1. I mean, it's sketch, man. I'm picking the biggest guys. Also, if you're wondering about Big Jeff batteries, right here on the sign behind me, right? Okay. The Big Jeff battery is half of a 5K V2. Same chemistry, the same cells. It's half. So it's a 22 amp hour or 20. Yeah, it's the chemistry from the V1. So it's half of a 5K V1. Okay. Same chemistry as the cells that I'm running right now. And the battery that I'm running right now is a 44 amp hour battery. The original 5K was a 22 amp hour battery. And actually, yeah, his is okay. No, I got that back. I got that wrong. The 5K was a 44. The old 5K was a 44, and the one Big Jeff has is a 22 amp hour battery. So it's half of the old 5K V1. Nothing wrong with it. It's a good battery, but for the price, it's not the best buy. If all you got is 300 and something bucks to spend, it's a good deal. But if you can spend a little more than that, but not double, you get double with the 5K V2. You're also getting the new model cell. Same cell, but they're the same cell, but they're the newest model of the cell. So I'm just trying to cover all the bases. And I'm not talking about, Limitless or any of these other guys. They're all going to be a similar boat, okay? I can tell you the prices. Truck Thunder Lithium is going to give you more for your money than pretty much anybody else. That doesn't mean that they don't make a good product. It's just they're priced a little higher. And I know that Brandon's a real stickler for using the best possible conductors and the best charge controllers, all that kind of shit, the best balancers, the best everything when he builds them. He's very picky about what he puts in that casing. Some other guys may not be as picky. So you don't know what you're going to get, how it's going to work out. It is what it is, man. But one thing's for sure, you're never going to get anywhere big power unless you go crazy amounts of AGM. You're not going to get anywhere with AGM. You have to figure. You can figure one. It's so sad, but you can figure based on the amp and all that. If you base the numbers off the amplifier, so you got 1,000 watt or 5,000 watt amplifier, it's going to produce less than that. But after everything's stacked up, you could figure one AGM battery for every 1,000 watts of power. And that's going to be minimum to pretty much probably get the job done. And they're going to run you between 60 and 70 pounds, and they're going to be between $200 and $400 a piece or more. Your choice. And you're not going to end up with what you're after. You're going to be close, though. And I can tell you, I was running on my 8K, my original Duck Bunts 8K. I was running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was running 8 AGM batteries in there to power that. And I had 6 in there, and it was still falling down, actually. And when I added the last 2, I was able to hold voltage pretty good on 8K. This is me speaking from experience. I'm not just telling you about what the hell's in the math book. All right. I'm telling you about what the fuck is in my damn vehicle, what I've done and what I've seen. It just won't work. It takes power to make power, and you got to be able to put the power back in just the same as you take it out, or you're not going to be able to sustain it. Your car is slowly going to drain the battery until it gets to the point to where nothing is taking enough power away. It'll just slowly rest at a low voltage, and your battery is going to take a shit on you every year or so because you're not charging it. You're not able to charge it. You're taxing the shit out of it. I just bought this battery last year. Why is it broken? Why did my alternator just up and die? I don't know. Maybe because you were strangling it to death. So let's see here. Go back in here and see max 45 amp hours. Okay. So Trey Love says I got 45 amp hours to see max in my setup over 2 years, no problem. Absolutely. Sitting at 15.4, sure. 320 McMahon 612s. Yep, beating the block. Like I said, bro, if you got them right and you do them right, you can make them last forever. They were built to go in the car. Well, it was a Honda, I believe. Was it a Honda that they come into? A Honda C-Max or something like that? They're built to go in a car. They're built to last for 10, 15 years. If they're used in their right environment and everything is right, sure. The problem is people are stupid, and people do stupid shit with stupid things, and that's where things go wrong. And the C-Max has very little tolerance for stupid. If you give them 1% stupid, you might survive that. 2%, boom. They just don't have any tolerance for stupid. So that's why I recommend staying away from C-Max. You jump into that, I'm not in it. It'll work as long as you don't catch on fire. That's what I'm going to tell you. Yeah, no doubt, dude. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying. I think everybody probably caught on by now. Barrick said, don't get car audio advice from YouTube unless you want to have to rebuild your system every few months like these goobers. Good luck. There you go. And if you don't want to have to rebuild your own shit, then go somewhere and have somebody install it for you and charge you, $120 an hour and overcharge you by 20% for every piece of equipment they put in there and upsell you on everything, whether you need it or not. If you got more money than you got time, that's how you get shit done. Or you can play ball and just, do your own research and learn some shit and do it yourself. Or a combination of both. It is what it is. But they don't need to be mean about it, Barrett. We're all goobers, you included, my friend. Jason says, C-Max sales? C-Max are good sales. They're all used. Ford C-Max. I thought it was a Honda. Yeah. Right. Exactly. All of that I agree with. Yep. So what brand for lithium? Trunked under lithium, baby. Trunked under lithium, V1 or V2s, and the trunked under lithium 10Ks and 5K V2s, depending on how big your system is. That's the answer to that question. I trust them. What's my take on the Down for Sound LTO 6.0? Don't know what that is exactly, but if it's an LTO bank and it's got a 6 in it, it's probably a 6-cell LTO bank. I don't know how much it costs. LTO cells are great. They're just expensive. Um, yeah, that's pretty much my opinion is they're good, but they're expensive. Uh, let's see here. Already have one, planning on getting another. Same for my Scar 12. Should I go Big Jeff? For if you're buying the LTO cells, if you can find a better deal at Big Jeff, then yeah, because the LTO cells are kind of LTO or kind of LTO. They're not going to be any difference between which stickers put on there. And if you go to Big Jeff, use this discount code CAE, and it'll probably save you some money. I don't know how much though, because it varies depending on what you're buying, but it could be as much as 10%, 5 or 10%. Money's money, man. You know, when you're spending that kind of money, that 10% adds up to a lot of damn money. So you can take that, whatever the percentage is off of whatever he's selling them for. If you can get them cheaper there, get them there. I will say that Big Jeff's good about honoring warranties and shit. So I don't know about anybody else. Jason jumping in. Jason, what you got? Barrick, YouTube's a medium. Okay, Barrick, you let him have it, Jason. As a medium that people use, advice is not good or bad based on the medium. It is based on the person's knowledge. So find people who have experience in these things. That's a very kind way of saying, shut the fuck up. See, you know what? I'm one of those YouTubers that I know when it's time to let you know what the fuck's going on, right? I'm not going to sit here and pussyfoot around. This is the real thing. You want to be an asshole, then you get treated like one. If you want to learn something, then you might learn it here. You might be able to teach here, but you're going to do it in a nice way. So, elsewise, Bobby's going to show you the door. Tyler Walker said, what could cause my secondary battery to be seeing as little as 3 to 6 amp charge from my alternator or main? Power. Okay, let's see. Secondary battery to be seeing as little as 3 to 6 amps charge from my alternator. Our main powers are connected and both have a solid ground to the frame. Okay. It's going to be a wire. If the alternator is charging one battery normally, but it's not charging the other normally, then it's going to be a wire issue. I know you said the powers are connected and grounds are solid to the frame. Question is, where's that frame ground getting this ground at? Is it being connected through the body mounts because see, you have to run up in the front. There's not a real ground that runs to the frame. So just because you're grounding to the frame in the back doesn't mean that you're grounding to a solid point. It's not a solid connection. You have to run a ground from the battery or the alternator or both to the frame, and then you can pick it up from the frame in the back. If you're just grounding to the frame and you haven't made any improvements to that scenario in the front, what's happening is you've got your alternator bracket is feeding ground through the head, through the engine block, through the motor mounts into the frame, or it's feeding power through the head, the bracket, the head, the engine block to a ground strap running to the body, which is connected to the frame with some isolators and motor mounts, rubber pads and shit. All of those things are a shit connection for a ground. It will get a ground, but it's going to be very, very bad. And that would absolutely cause the problem that you're talking about. So make sure your ground path from your alternator bracket and any battery up front, from that bracket to all the way to the battery is a big old chunk of metal. If there's any point where it's not, that's where your problem is. And I'm just rough guessing. That's my guess. Let's see here. Stu's Custom Shop. Never underestimate the stupidity of the general public. Man, I'm telling you, the first thing I want whenever I'm doing anything, the first thing I add, the first part of my equation is the stupid factor. because I already know that I'm stupid. So I want to know, how can I do this in such a way to eliminate as much of the potential for my stupid factor to cause explosions as possible. I assume a set amount, a portion of stupidity in myself, and just as much, if any, if not more, in a lot of other people. So whenever I'm suggesting something, it's because I'm already factoring in the stupid. Okay, there's a large portion of that, and then if it ain't just you're stupid, there's other people that do stupid shit. Like you're driving down the road, somebody T-boned you. That was their stupid, right? But it's still affecting your shit. Is your shit going to be able to handle that and not do poof, right? These are all things I think about. When I set everything up, I set it up in such a way that I feel like it's absorbing as much of the stupid factor as possible. So you have never made a truer statement, my friend. Jason, I'm just going to leave you alone, Jason. AJ Cargill. Hey, man, blessings to you. You got me sold on the trunk on a lithium battery. Dude, I don't have to sell anything. Straight up. You put the son of a bitch in your vehicle and you'll understand why. It just does the job. It will sell itself. You buy the 5K, you're going to be buying a bigger one later, because the only thing you're going to want after that point is another battery, just like the one you got, because it is huge improvement on everything you've ever had. It's such a dynamic, massive freaking improvement that it sells itself from that point on. And I'm just sharing the information to you guys. That's all I'm doing. I'm trying to let you skip a bunch of bullshit and get to something that works, that's going to actually do something that you're paying for. I bought plenty of junk, and even if you buy junk that's cheap, you've still spent money on something that you can't use, and now you're still going to go buy the better thing. It is what it is, man. Kelly said, "Thank you and have a good night." Have a good night yourself, Kelly. Jay, Vince, I think they are discontinuing those D4 batteries, swapping to sodium. Yeah, I don't know. Can't speak in that sodium department yet. I need to study up on sodium. Brandon was trying to tell me some shit about it, but I had only about a quarter of my brain was paying attention, and the other 3/4 was thinking about tacos. Or maybe pork chops. I got on a pork chop tip one day. I get on that pretty much 3 or 4 times a week. I get to thinking about pork chops. I really should eat more pork chops. Everybody should eat more pork chops and bacon. The world will be a better place. Thank you. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sure it's something catchy, but we'll just call you BP for now. But I appreciate the comment. Thank you for stopping by. Stu's Custom Shop. He's just rolling in it, and I love that. And you have a good night, Jason. Crazy Booba. Can I get the Duo Scar car audio? Duo Scar car audio. Brother, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I know you meant some shit, but I can't understand what the question is. Duo Scar car. I don't know. Maybe you clear that up later. Let me go in here and read some more. Tyler Walker said, "Thank you. That's a solid answer. A lot of framework between the 2 ground points and the alternator ground. I was not going fully connect to batteries with the ground run until I get my trunk buster." That must be your sub enclosure. That sounds like a cool name for a sub enclosure. I've never heard it before, but it's cool. So I'm down with it. Trunk buster is great. In fact, you're straight up going to have to get one of those Ghostbuster things with the round and then the slide, and put it on your trunk, and put a subwoofer picture in there, and then a big Ghostbusters circle with the cross through it on top of that, right on your trunk. You're going to have to do that now. It's mandatory. There's no other option. Trunk buster. Can I get the guru? You see, he asked again. Is that the same question? Did I read? Did I not? Did I? Am I going backwards? I am going backwards. Bacon makes the world roll around. Yeah, I still don't know what duo star car audio is. Um, Bacon makes the world roll around. Stu said, "Yeah, bacon and pork chops, man." And Bobby, Bobby, you laid it out there. Bobby, bacon is the food of gods. The food of gods. So Germany Who said, "Hey, how much RMS power can I run with a 320 amp alternator and an extra battery?" I'm assuming you mean two AGM batteries, about 100 amps. So about 1,000 watts, maybe 2,000 watts if you give all the butter and potatoes to it. You might be able to run music on between 1,000 and 2,000 watts with two good AGMs and a good alternator. The problem, like I said, is the amount of power that you can put into the AGM battery. It just doesn't have enough capacity, enough throughput to be able to charge it back up. So you can only take out what you can put in after a certain point. And then every time you drive it, you're gonna steadily deplete the storage of that battery. It may still show 12 volts, but it's not going to have near as much energy stored in it because you're sucking it out and you're not putting it back. Um, it's just the way it is, man. I mean, if you want to know, honest to God, guys, I'll give you a test. Okay, I'll give you a freaking experiment you can do on your vehicle. You get in your shit, okay, crank the shit out of it, listen to it, get a feel for that. When you come in from work, have it jamming hard, and then park it in the garage, get the battery charger out, hook that sumbitch up, let it charge overnight. And then go out there and get in your shit and crank up the same song again. And if you notice that it's substantially more balls to it, way more power, your problem is that you're not able to put the power back in the battery. Just like I'm telling you right now. You can't charge the damn battery because it doesn't have a big enough hole to put the power through. It's got a big hole on the pour out side and a tiny hole on the intake side. It just keeps empties. You got to go lithium, or you got to have a ton of AGMs. You pick. That's just how it works, man. Um, Bobby said using good wire, OFC, do not use CCA. Yeah, CCA is bad in so many ways. Even if you double it up, you can conduct a similar amount of current. But CCA is also way more susceptible to weather um, and corrosion. And corrosion in the wire will cause it to break down, cause your connections to get weak. It'll cause your fuse holders to melt. If you've ever melted a fuse holder, you've seen one happen. You've seen the battery terminal, like plastic pieces on stuff like that, get all melty and misshapen. It's all from that CCA wire. It's from loose connections. The connection will be tight. As the corrosion starts to happen, it'll eat away at that cable underneath there, and it'll loosen that connection. And once that connection starts to loosen, it gets even more corrosion, and the resistance goes up, and it gets hot, and it does bad things. That's what CCA is good for. If you're going to run aluminum, dude, straight up, if you're going to run aluminum, run solid aluminum. Get solid aluminum freaking power wire they use to run it in buildings and shit, and run that. At least then you're going to keep a good connection. You're still going to have to run twice as much of it, and it's actually probably going to cost you more than the copper would. But that fine stranded aluminum is just going to break down and turn into a powder, man. It just doesn't work. It's a waste of money and a danger in your vehicle. Don't run it. Keep it away from your vehicle. It's bad. So Stu said just subscribe. I had a blast this evening. Thank you, and thank you for the sub, my friend. Y'all be sure and slam that like button. That helps my algorithm tremendously. And I appreciate every single one of you guys for stopping in tonight. I really do. We are looking at an hour and a half. We're cooking right along now. You guys are doing really good here, man. Y'all are asking lots of good questions. BP says, do you think it's okay for a beginner to start with a small project in terms of power watts on a budget? I want to make this project for my university. Also, thanks for the welcoming. Yes, just consider, like I said, if you're running an AGM battery, you use a factor of 1 AGM battery per 1,000 watts. Don't exceed that, because that's pushing it right there. That's pushing it. But the reason I give it that is because the AGM battery is going to have hopefully a C rating of 0.5. Okay, which means if it's got 100 amp hours of storage, it can take in half of that constantly, which is 50 amps. Now your 1,000 watt amplifier running after impedance rise is going to be producing probably 600 or 700 watts, which means its realistic number it's drawing in is going to be around 50 to 60 amps, which is about how much you can put into a single AGM battery. Okay, after all the stuff is balanced and factored, a single good AGM will support a 1,000 watt amplifier just barely. As long as your alternator has 50 spare amps to put into it, then it'll all work together. Now, if you're doing a fairly small system like that, that's fine. Even if you're going to go with 2,000 watts, running 2 AGMs is not the end of the world. But it gets really ridiculous when you start going anything bigger than that. You're going to want to run a trunked under lithium 5kV2. I recommend that for anybody getting into this, because you're going to be stupid proofing. You're going to be adding a lot of padding, a lot of extra space, and it's also going to be future proofing, because you can go with a 5kV2 on a high output alternator will support easily 10,000 watts of power, easily. And it weighs like 10 pounds. And it's the size of a lawn and garden tractor battery. It's a little bitty sucker. Weighs 10 pounds. It's that big. It'll support 10,000 watt amplifier with a decent alternator attached to it. On a stock alternator, it'll support 5,000 watts all day long. And it takes up little to no space. It doesn't weigh anything. You can stash it into the seat, whatever. It's a problem solver, and it can grow with your vehicle. And it's about the same price as a really good AGM battery, but you're going to have to buy one anyway. So if you've already got one AGM battery and you're getting ready to buy another one instead, buy a 5K. Now you don't have to buy more batteries. You're going to be good for a long damn time. Anyway, hopefully this was helpful. Bobby says CCA equals fire. Yeah, hopefully that information got to you guys, and I try to do my best to explain things in a way that I understand them. And I take complicated subjects and break them down, try to make them to where I can understand them. And once I get it done in my head, then I can turn around and try to give it back to you guys in a way that you can understand, and we can all figure this shit out. If you want trunked under lithium batteries, right now the 10K is in pre-order, the 10K V2. The parts are at the dock. We're waiting on customs to release some stuff. It's really close, but the 5K V2s are in stock. If you head over to Trunked Under Lithium, use discount code CAE10, save 10% off of it, and you can get yourself a really solid battery for a lot less than you can pay for a good AGM battery, and it'll do 10 times the work. Literally 10 times the work. German said, who? You're right. CCA sucks. Yeah, man. Jay said also, pre-charging any batteries you order before installing. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Always want to charge them if you can. Yeah, especially AGMs, because AGMs ain't never going to see a full charge off an alternator if you're trying to run audio off of it. Anyway, guys, I've had a wonderful night tonight, and I hope you guys have too. If you have, be sure and slam the subscribe button, slam that like button, and show the duck some love so we get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. Out here banging up and down the street, slamming it to the ground. Big subwoofers are getting loud. You can feel the booming sound. Getting ready to go. Got it shined up for the show. Power's charging, amps are amping, gonna let the woofers blow. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one
one
Chevy
goes and another
Tahoe.
one bites the dust.
140 with a Memphis
We
logo.
got more at home. Another one
Yeah,
bites the dust.
Put a good 3K on it and a 5K V2. Get the smart
Eyes are
bass
blowing and the amp smoking.
or
Subs are
with a
cherry
3K
red.
from
Let me
Slapz
keep
audio.
jamming, gotta keep the bass fan going. Go
3K
hard
shot,
till they're
3K.
dead.
and a
Full power, gotta let it go.
5K
20 hertz
V2.
in the floating hair. Sparks are flying, voice
And
cords are
tune it for
frying, and the
about
smoke is
40.
in the air.
tune your box for about high 30s or mid 30s to high
Another
30s.
one bites the dust.
Get her done.
Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. Hey, we got more at home. Another one bites the dust.